Off. I've got 2 minutes after the hour. Appreciate you all joining us today. We've got our lobby day, of course, Advocacy Day, as we're calling it, Advocacy Day at the Capitol for AARP Kentucky, Thursday, February 19th, 2026. And this is our volunteer training. Of course, we want to recognize a couple folks on the line with us today. One is Jackie White. Jackie White is a former volunteer executive council member, but also a Louisville volunteer community team member, longtime advocate, and has been to Lobby Day more than once. And she is our Advocacy Day lead for this year. So thank you, Miss Jackie. We'll have you share a few words here in just a minute. Myself, Daniel Rowe, I'm our State Advocacy and Community Engagement Manager. We've also got Scott Weiganist, our State Communications Manager, joining us today as well. Troy Broussard, our State Director, not on the line with us tonight, but he's here with us in spirit, and you can see his picture there on the left with some of our fantastic volunteers from a previous Lobby Day. Those are some of our folks from Lexington. And also want to recognize, of course, Mr. Gary Atkins, our volunteer state president, and Gary and Sherry are on the line with us as well. And Jack Hilliard, who's with the Limestone Group. Jack's going to share a word a little bit later as well. But they help us out at the Capitol as well, doing our advocacy also. So I'll just go ahead. I want to hand it over to both Gary and Jackie to share a word as well. And before we do that, too, I also want to recognize Miss Charlotte Whitaker, our former volunteer state president. So thank you, Miss Charlotte, for joining us from Ohio County this evening. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Gary first, and then hand it off to Jackie for just a word quickly. Go ahead, Gary.
I just want to welcome everybody on board tonight. Looking forward to this Advocacy Day that we're going to do on the 17th. It's a great opportunity to reach out to your state representatives and your state senators, talk to them about what is important for us. And Scott and Daniel will be going over our priorities that we're going to be talking about. I know one of them is going to be House Bill 380, which deals with cyber currency, Bitcoin type kiosks that are stealing money from lots of our citizens. But I look forward to seeing everybody on the 17th, and I'll see you there.
On the 19th. Yes, thank you, Gary.
19th.
Appreciate that.
Whatever day.
That's
Daniel
right. Whenever we're going to be
there.
there, that's when we'll see you. So with that, thank you, Gary. Appreciate that. Jackie White, our volunteer lead. Jackie, would you mind saying a quick word as well?
I want to say a few words, mostly to the people who have never been before. When we go to the state capitol together in a group like this, we go as a bunch of neighbors and people from the same districts and constituents with a sort of a shared voice. And elected officials are used to hearing from lobbyists every day, but nothing really matters more to them than hearing directly from the people who live right there in their districts. We always tell them when we first get in, I am a constituent. That's usually one of the first things we say, because if you don't, they'll ask you, because I don't even know if they continue to listen if you're not. They want to know that they're talking to people that are in their area. Meeting with our own legislators has always put a human face on the issues that we deal with in Kentucky. And we're not all dealing with the same issues in Kentucky, but most of the time, if you're 50 or older, and the older you get, the more you have in common. It's one thing to see a bunch of numbers on a page, but it's another to hear from somebody who is trying to choose from between prescriptions and groceries and taking care of a loved one, or just trying to age safely in our homes. We also want the lawmakers to understand that the issues that really affect us, like caregiving is big, always right now. It affects everybody at some point in their life. Veterans, fraud, rural health care. I don't have to tell most of you about that live outside of Louisville and Lexington. Older adults are increasingly getting targeted by scams, and Gary does a lot of work on that, as do a lot of us. The damage can just be devastating from what's happening these days with seniors and scams. And I come from a rural area originally. I've been in Louisville about 40 years, but I grew up out in the state. And long drives to the doctor and limited services are making healthcare harder to reach for people out there every day. Going as a group, in that big red wave, if we all have on something red, it shows that we're sharing all these kind of challenges all over Kentucky. And it says this isn't just my problem. This is a problem in our community. It's a reality. These visits are not about politics, they're nonpartisan, they're not about political parties, whether you're Republican or how you voted, whether you're registered as a Democrat, it doesn't make any difference. They're about education and building relationships with the people that represent us in Frankfort that we elected. And when we show up and speak together, we remind the leaders there that we elected that Kentucky seniors are informed, we're engaged, we pay attention, and we vote. They all know that seniors vote and our voices matter. So I'm always telling people, if you're one of those people that says somebody needs to do something about this, whatever it is, that's us. We're getting ready to do something about this. And other than casting your vote, talking to that legislator in Frankfort is about the closest thing you can do to demonstrating your strength in a democracy. Thanks. That's all I have to say.
Thank you, Jackie. Absolutely. Definitely want to echo what Jackie said as well. We all play a part, and you are taking the first step of many steps forward to be able to be willing to speak to your legislator and share with your state representative and senator priorities that matter to you, that matter to AARP, and that matter to older adults. So we thank you for that. Here's our training agenda. Just wanted to share some highlights of some of the things that we're going to be talking about this evening. And you're probably going to have some questions, and it might be on the next slide. So we ask that you hold your questions because we will get to that at the end. But also at the same time, I know that Scott and Jackie and Gary and Jack Hilliard as well, and Charlotte might speak up to help share some insights as well as we go throughout this presentation because it is somewhat conversational in that regard. One of the things I wanted to mention as well is we are going to share a brief highlight of what our legislative priorities are, but that's not the meat of this presentation or this training tonight. Really, we want to make sure that you feel comfortable about accessing the Capitol, getting around at the Capitol Annex building, where to be, when, logistics, things like that. We kind of want to spend more time on that tonight rather than the legislative priorities. We plan to follow up with you with more information and details about those because, as you know, bills are still being filed. Things are changing and moving between the House and Senate committees. So Scott and I are going to keep you informed going forward about the talking points and bills and sponsors and things that we're going to be talking about more specifically in the future. Scott, go ahead.
Yeah, Daniel, briefly. Well said, Jackie. Let me just point out, hey, if you have a question, please drop it in the chat. We will be using that as we go through the training. And if you don't know where the chat is, it's on the lower bar where it says chat. You can click on that. It'll open the chat window in your the right side of your frame. Thank you.
Or the bottom. It might be
Yeah.
at the
I also want to mention too that we have a couple other folks that I wanted to mention on the call as well. Christine Jackson is on our AARP Kentucky staff serving the Lexington area. Hi, Christine. Glad to have you. And then we also have Melinda Johnson, who's our advocacy lead for the Lexington volunteer community team. And then, of course, Reverend Daryl Baker, who's also on our volunteer executive council and assisting with advocacy as well in the area. And we're glad to have our folks represented because I know we've got people all across Ohio County, Bowling Green, Louisville, Jessamine County, Lexington, just all over the state. So appreciate y'all joining us tonight. Legislative priorities, I want to kick off and share just an overarching view of the topics that we're planning to cover in the future that we'll be sharing these talking points out. But just to give you a highlight, our 2026 legislative priorities focus on protecting consumers from fraud, and that is included to what Gary just pointed out earlier with House Bill 380. We'll share all these details with you later. Don't feel like you have to take notes. You're welcome to, but we will share all these in writing later. And that's related to the crypto kiosk machines. It looks like an ATM. You can deposit cash in, and there's just scammers are just utilizing these machines that you find in gas stations and supermarkets. So more to follow on that. Of course, AARP has a long-standing history of supporting family caregivers. The average caregiver spends about $7,200 out of pocket annually to care for loved ones. Of course, we support quality long-term care systems in our long-term care facilities, nursing homes. We want to make sure that they have the adequate staff and care that they're providing appropriately to older adults. Equitable housing options, that does include both housing and somewhat property-related issues that fall within AARP's policies, and supporting our veterans. And we have more to follow about supporting our veterans related to protecting veteran benefits, as well as a potential project that is being filed related to ADA accessible ramps, ease of access ramps for veteran homes as well. So more to come on that. We're going to move forward and talk about our checklist for our advocates. So that includes you, our volunteers. If you're planning to attend and be at our Advocacy Day for February 19th, here's the things that we want you to know and what we want you to be aware of. And that includes registering, training, finding your legislator, scheduling your meeting with your lawmaker, and notifying staff of when your date and meeting time will be on the 19th. So just I'm sharing. I'm not going to go over all of this in detail, but just want to share this up front as far as our checklist. I'm assuming most of you have registered, but if you have not already, you want to go to our CVent page, the KY Lobby Day. That's there on the right. Scott will share that in the chat as well. But most of you, I'm assuming, have already registered because you're here on the Zoom training. And the way that you get this Zoom training link is from registering through the CVent. You're attending the training now, so being trained is a big part of it. Finding your legislator, I know we get a lot of questions on that. We're going to show you how to utilize this tool later. It's on the Legislative Research Commission website, and you can click Find Your Legislator and put in your home address, and it'll populate your representative and senator so you know who those folks are, and it could have changed from previous years. Scheduling your meeting with your lawmakers, and I know some groups may have a different or have a plan for their group. So please check in with your volunteer community team leads or maybe your chapter leaders to see how they would like you to move forward in communicating with setting up your meetings. But essentially, in a general overview, we're asking all of our volunteers to call the Legislative Research Commission phone number, which we're going to share, as well as a script on how to request your meeting, but to call and ask for your representative or senator and ask for a meeting time, 20 to 30 minutes on the 19th. So more to follow on that. Another thing to remember is that once you get your meeting scheduled, it's important to communicate that so that we know when all the meetings are taking place. So we just ask, myself and Scott ask, that you would send us an email and tell us the time and who you're meeting with and who will be attending that meeting. Because some of you it might be a meeting by yourself. And if that's the case, then we'd be glad to have a staff person to go with you or another volunteer or somebody else that's done it before just to assist. And also so that we can track when all the meetings are taking place throughout the day and make sure that everyone's got those covered. Related to find your legislator, I've got this website here. These are screenshots from the Legislative Research Commission, and it talks about, or it shows you rather, a map of Kentucky. You can type in your home address there in that search bar. Once you type in your home address, it'll populate a pin, like a little red drop point pin on a map, and you click that pin, and then it will show your House member and your Senate member, their name. You can click on their links, contact info. And that is how you find your legislator. So that's a really easy tool with our Legislative Research Commission that they offer on that website. As far as scheduling steps to your meeting, I'll have Scott share some more information on this as well. But one of the things that we want you to focus on is that this could be, some of you might be in a group like we said, or by yourself as we said, or some of you, there might be 3, 4, 5, 6 folks all in the same meeting with their lawmaker. So we want to group folks together to have those meetings. And then we also, you'll want to ask, once you've scheduled your meeting or call in to schedule your meeting with your lawmaker, you can ask, and most likely you'll be talking to a Legislative Research Commission staff member, an executive assistant. You can always ask, say, hey, is there an AARP meeting already set up on February 19th? And may I join that meeting? So that's another way you can double check to make sure if somebody has something scheduled that you can join forces together. Because what we don't need to happen is we don't need 70 people going to the advocacy day and then everybody having an individual meeting with the legislator. We'd rather have those group up together for those that reside in the same district. And with that, Scott, what would you like to add to this related to scheduling your meeting with your lawmaker?
Daniel, I think you covered it. I think just making certain that you know who you're asking for, either your representative in the House or your senator. You will be connected, most likely, to their Legislative Research Commission staff that's running that office. So that's your starting point when you're calling to request a meeting on February 19th. I think that's it.
Yeah, and more info here in the slide as well. The Legislative Research Commission phone number, that bolded number 502-564-8100, you can call. A live operator will answer that, and they will transfer you. You can just say Representative so-and-so's office, and they will transfer you directly to their office. And so you don't have to find an individual phone number for your legislator.
Yeah, and Daniel, I'll just add to that. I did place in the chat these phone numbers and a PDF copy of the PowerPoint that Daniel is now going through. So you can download those from the chat.
There you go. And also time frame of when you want to set this meeting up on February 19th. I would recommend to make yourself available to the legislator between 9 a.m. and 1:30 p.m. Eastern. That's your target time frame to have a meeting set in between those. Just so you all are aware, we have access to the Capitol Annex building where we're going to be gathering in a room. I'm going to share more about this in a minute, but we have access to that room at 8:30. We're not expecting volunteers to be there at 8:30. You're welcome to get there at 9 o'clock or maybe a few minutes before. And so we'll share more information about that. But also note that you want to prioritize the meeting time available of your legislator, because we are going to have a gathering. We're going to have meetings or a gathering meeting, just kind of reviewing all the things that we're talking about today, as well as our legislative priorities. And we're going to have a time frame for lunch. It's not a set time for lunch that we'll be providing in the cafeteria basement. But what I'm saying is, between this time frame, if your legislator is only available to meet at 9 o'clock, you want to take that meeting and miss our gathering so that you can go meet with your legislator, because you want to prioritize that meeting time with your lawmaker to make sure that you have that chance to meet with them. I'm going to talk about etiquette here in a little bit, and I'm going to let Jack Hilliard speak to that somewhat, and other folks as well. But one of the things I want to talk about first is in related to requesting your meeting. We do have a script. You can utilize this if you like. You don't have to, but this is just kind of a general talking points that you can use to schedule your meeting when you're calling the Legislative Research Commission and asking to schedule your meeting. You can see these talking points. Like I said, the main priority, anytime between 9 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. Thursday, February 19th for a 20-minute meeting. This is not a 1-hour meeting. We're not expecting that. Typically, these meetings last anywhere from 15 to 20 minutes on average. And so we want to be sure that we're respectful of the legislators' time when scheduling these. And you can begin scheduling as soon as tomorrow, if you like. And I would recommend if you're able to make that phone call this week to schedule your meeting, I would say that would be ideal to go ahead and do that this week if you're able to give them a call to schedule. All right, I know we've got Jack Hilliard on the line here with our from our Limestone group, another one of our advocates, and Jack. Anything you'd like to refer to or share to the group there? Because Jack's been advocating for a long time and very familiar with our legislators in Frankfurt.
I was just reading someone had just put into chat, maybe that was you, Christine, but something about past experience. And it occurred to me as I tuned in tonight, I feel like I'm here with a lot of friends. That Limestone, Jason and I have been partners for a number of years, and we've been very fortunate to represent AARP. But seeing Reverend Baker and, of course, Charlotte and Gary and Sherry and Rob and Christine, others, but legislators remember that continuity as well. And so for those of you who might be new, welcome. Those of you who have just continued to come back, I can't tell you how important that is. One of the things, a truism of life is people do their best to try to help their friends. And Jackie said it very, very well earlier, that the meeting and doing that because you're closest to home to them. And in many ways, you really know them. You are friends with them. And you do vote. And that just matters so much. So there are a number of things that I could cover. First, on the etiquette that Daniel mentioned. We were talking to Daniel a couple of hours ago, and just in jest saying, well, not a good idea to tackle any legislator or, but in all seriousness, talk about the priorities, the message that Scott and Daniel have given you, but then really listen. Legislators love to talk, and once you get them engaged and they are sharing with you what they see, their point of view about our priorities, then you've got them. And so make yourself aware enough to begin the meeting of talking about our points, our priorities, but then just sit back and listen and engage and truly have a conversation. Most legislators, believe it or not, want to do the right thing, and they want to listen. I know that's not what we think of our politicians these days, but they really are mostly very nice people, and they do want to help. The 19th will be right around mid-session. Tomorrow is the 20th day of a 60-day session. And so by the time you're with us next week, things will begin to really take shape. We've so far in the first 20 days dealt with things like number of chickens in backyards in urban areas and cigar bar bills and such. But really, an important thing that has happened in these first 20 days was last week, the House gave the first initiation of a budget. And this, again, will be approximately a $15 billion budget. And in the words of the chairman of the budget in the House, Jason Petrie from Todd County, it's a bare bones budget. It's a base funding budget, which is a different approach. In the almost 30 years or more that I've been around the Capitol, it's the first time we've seen this new approach. Typically, it's about 250 pages. It's down to about 150 pages this year. There will be a 3% reduction to agencies in each year. But while there are those cuts there, and this is the last thing I'll have, two things I'll finish with it. They are very, very interested in rural health care. And the state just received a very large rural transformation healthcare grant from the federal government. And so many of our issues that we're looking at will be part of that grant. And the legislature will be looking how the state is going to spend that. So they want to hear about rural healthcare costs overall, and certainly veterans issues, fraud issues, the cryptocurrency that was mentioned. And to summarize, it's really about meeting. Do your due diligence of try to set your appointment as soon as you can. And then Jason and I will be there with you, Scott, Daniel, other leadership of the group. We'll attend meetings with you and let's just enjoy, try to have fun that day.
Excellent. Thank you, Jack. Appreciate you sharing those words of wisdom. And we're going to keep things moving along. So your day of agenda, we've got that here on your screen. You can take a look, kind of the time frames of where to be and when. We do have a committee room reserved for us that morning, February 19th, Capitol Annex room number 125. That is on floor number 1, the main floor. And that is floor 1 is above the basement. And the basement does have, that's where the cafeteria is located. So that's where we'll be having lunch later. But the first place that you're going to want to arrive when you get to the Capitol Annex building is you're going to want to go to this room number 125. And we've got directions once you get inside the building through security of how to get there. So we're going to share that in a minute, but that's a picture of the room there. We're planning to have some coffee and very light breakfast items for you so that you'll have those available. We do have that room from 8:30 a.m. until 10:45 a.m. So we will have to leave that room, all of us, or anybody that's left over from that time period throughout that gathering space will need to be out of there by 10:45. And once we're out of there of 10:45, the other gathering space, if you will be in the cafeteria in the basement. So that'll be kind of our next home base where we'll relocate for folks because people are going to be having their legislator meetings all throughout this time frame, all throughout the day. The other thing I wanted to share is we do have a guest speaker that is coming in at 9:45 a.m. Now that's tentative post their committee meeting, and that's Representative Tom Odell Smith. And Representative Smith is our sponsor for the cryptocurrency kiosk fraud prevention bill that has been filed and is in the House now. So we've asked Representative Smith to come and speak to our group a little bit about that bill. So you'll be hearing more about that. And like I said, there's not a set time for lunch. That is a time frame because people will be coming and going from their legislator meetings. You do not have to pay. That is something that AARP Kentucky is paying for you. And you can let them know at the cash register, say, hey, AARP, or you might have a ticket that you could give them. But either way, we'll have a count and we'll settle up with the cafeteria post lunch. We're planning for most folks to go home, wrap up and go home at 2 o'clock. Just know that your legislators will be heading over to their chambers, their House and Senate chambers around that time. So most meetings, I don't believe will be taking place. They will be ending by 1:30, I would imagine. So your last meeting time might be available at 1 o'clock, 1:15 before they go over to their chambers. So the other thing too is you're welcome to stick around for that time period. But let's say, hey, you get your meeting, you go to the gathering, and then you've got your legislator meetings at 10 and 10:30. That's done, and then you go get lunch in the cafeteria at 11. And you're done at 11:30, noon, you want to go ahead and get on the road, that's perfectly fine. You don't have to stay until 2 o'clock. We're not going to have any closing ceremony or anything like that at the end. We're just kind of wrapping up throughout the day. And like I said, if you have trouble finding people, just always know that you can go to that committee room number 125 from 8:30 to 10:45 or 9 o'clock to 10:45. And then if you don't find anybody there, you can always go to the cafeteria and look for folks, other AARP folks there after that 10:45 period on. So we kind of have two gathering spaces between the committee room, number 125, and the cafeteria basement. Just a clarification, if you have not been to the Capitol before, there's two significant buildings you'll want to be aware of, and I got those pictured here. One is the Capitol itself, and you will see that that is under construction. So that's actually closed for renovations right now and will be for the next several years. So we will be doing, we will not have any activities or anything going on at the Capitol building itself, but right across the street, right across there is the Capitol Annex building. And that's what's pictured in the upper left-hand corner. That front entrance by the steps there is one of the ways that you would enter into the front entrance of the Capitol Annex building. And that's where your representative and senator offices are on those floors above as well at the Capitol Annex building. Oh, hey, we got a map. That's handy. Let's take a look at this. So you'll see we've got our parking garages here on the left side of the map in that blue area. The garage levels you can park on are 4, 5, and 6. There is an ADA access on levels 4 and 5. So you'll see that there. Then we do have an ADA entrance in the back upper left-hand corner of the Capitol Annex building. That is a possible position to, if you have an ADA need and need to be dropped off there from your carpool, or if you happen to be riding a bus, you could be dropped off there at the back side upper left corner entrance as well. So that's a option there. And you'll also see in the Capitol Annex building that the front entrance there is where you would enter before you go through security. And that's on floor number 1, the main floor level, which is where our room number 125 will be on the committee, that committee room that we're gathering in to begin. And then if you go down one level, whether by stairs or by elevator, you'll be in the basement. And then down that hallway in the basement in the middle is where you'll find the cafeteria. Scott, Jack, Jackie, anything to add related to the map or accessing the buildings? I know for security, we want to make sure that folks have certain things they need to check in, but go ahead, Scott.
Daniel, you're touching on it already, but I've dropped this map in the chat as an Adobe PDF file. You can download that now. Everyone is required to bring a state-issued ID who enters the Capitol Annex building. So make sure you pack that state-issue ID.
Scott, the ones that are coming on a bus on Thursday, do they need to have that list already filled out to hand to the state police?
We are going to work on that, Charlotte, to try and save time with KSP, Kentucky State Police. And we're going to confirm that. There's been a few changes on the security protocols, but I expect the Kentucky State Police would welcome a list of 15 people coming in on a bus. But they're going to have to present an ID, state issue ID. But yeah, that's a good question.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thank you, Charlotte.
Well, that would be Bowling Green because, we're not bringing a bus this year. I think Louisville's bringing a bus. So,
thank you, Charlotte.
I don't know
Thank
if
you,
we're
Charlotte.
bringing a bus or not in Louisville because we don't have a lot of signups for a bus yet. I have 2 or 3 notes here. ADA, he's talking about handicap for everybody that's forgotten what ADA stands for. The handicapped areas are marked ADA, the door and things like that. I had a lot of questions one year about the garage levels. Guys, aren't they reversed?
They
What
are.
is
They are.
Yeah.
You want to explain those, Scott?
Make sure you mark what level you park on. Take a picture of the level number because it's 6 floors.
It's
You don't
under.
want to be able to find your car.
It's like the 6th floor, the bottom floor instead of the top. Is that what it is?
Right.
I
Correct.
think that's what it is. It's something is backwards.
It's D6.
So yeah, write down where you are because it's not going to be logical, whatever it is.
and it just makes sense to park on that 6th floor, go to the elevator, and go to level 2 and go in through the tunnel. That's the way to make it work, I think. Right, Scott?
Well, in order to use that tunnel, technically you are required to have a legislative agent approved badge. So technically, public citizens are not allowed to use the tunnel to enter the building. you have to go up to either the ADA entrance or that front Capitol Annex front entrance on the front. So yeah.
That's where correct. That's where most folks will be entering from is that front Capitol Annex entrance, and then also and or the ADA entrance on the backside as well.
Correct.
Okay,
So
so if
more,
they're in the parking, if they've parked in the parking lot, they go up to what floor? And access the street, is that what you're saying?
yeah, I would go up to the surface level parking lot and then walk across the remainder of the parking lot in between around the restricted access area past the Rose Garden and then up to that Capitol, the front of the Capitol Annex building, across from the Capitol building that's under construction.
Okay, the map we're looking at, that's not very far. So they're going to leave the public parking area and they're going to walk across the street. Is where your yellow arrows are? Are they going the opposite direction of the yeah,
Yeah, that you can follow the yellow arrows. That's
right, but
directed
backwards,
for
right?
vehicle
Uh-huh.
traffic. So you can move over across those, and then past. Once you get there, there is a walking path above that no access area, right below where the Rose Garden is mentioned, and you could walk up that sidewalk there, and then get to the Capitol building,
Or you
where
can walk around to the ADA, which of course, if you need an ADA entrance, you're probably not walking.
correct.
Somebody's probably dropping you
Yeah,
off,
somebody's going to be
right?
dropping you off, likely. Yes. Yeah. Good point,
Okay,
Jackie.
so then you're saying they would go to the street level, which will be the starred one, I guess, and they get off the elevator and then they go to the right and walk around the Rose Garden to the front of the building.
You got it. That's right.
And go in the front door. Okay.
hmm
And
For most folks, yeah. Go ahead,
Bowling,
Charlotte.
Bowling Green bus people, you will need to go to that handicap access entrance at the back of the building, at the back of the annex.
Where it says
Because,
ADA.
Yeah,
yes,
we'll
because
have the bus be
Right.
directed there for drop off for our Bowling Green folks.
Okay.
Yes.
And we intend to have staff or volunteer at that door to meet you all and to help you come in because there will be a security checkpoint as you enter that entrance.
Correct.
You want to tell them what not to have on their body or in their bags for security?
Well, yeah, you know,
No fireworks. Don't bring any
It's-
fireworks, y'all.
It's like airport, right?
exactly. No firearms of any sort of weapons. Travel light.
yeah,
And wear those comfy shoes
hmm
for
Yeah,
work.
all good points.
Yeah. We do
And-
know that another group is having a lobby day on February 19 as well. So that's going to put extra pressure on the parking situation.
I just have a comment. I know if you've never been in that annex, you can. Fox News just says Senator McConnell is in the hospital. Okay, but you know you can get very turned around in that place. And having said that, if it's past 10:30 and our room's not available, the best thing is to just go to the cafeteria.
Right.
Some
Right.
of us will be down there to help you either find your representative or senator or just hang out with you till lunchtime, whatever. But it's very easy to get turned around in that place. And,
Right.
hopefully we all will have our red on and can help anyone that's maybe new to this. So,
If
Right,
I could
great.
add a couple of points.
Go ahead, Gary.
One, when you're meeting with your legislators, don't argue with them. You may not like what you may hear from them, but don't argue with them. We don't want to tick anybody off. And the second thing is that they have new security on the second floor with the House of Representatives folks. you will have to go to the lobby area, and the Senate is the same way for both of these things. You'll have to go to the lobby area on those floors and fill out a sheet of paper about who it is that you're there to see. And they will then call, and you'll have to wait in that lobby area until they give you authorization to go on to those meeting rooms. That's a new thing for the Senate. It's been something like that in the past for the House of Representatives.
Yeah, thank you, Gary. Good point. So you'll want to check in, as Gary said, with staff in the lobby area of each floor, and they'll have glass doors that are closed, restricted. And then once you fill out that card, even though you already have a meeting, which is confirmed, that's what you want to do, but you'll want to check in with them first, and then they will call you back and allow you to go back as a group or individually once they have that confirmation from that legislator's ready to meet. All right. Wanted to talk about and Charlotte hit it on the head when she said sometimes you can get turned around in that Capitol Annex building. So we just wanted to provide you some directions of where to go from here once you're inside the building. So if you're coming, like we said, from that front entrance, the main floor, floor number 1, you're going to go enter the front door. You're going to check in with security, and then you're going to go forward down the hallway, and then you're going to make your first left. Once you make that first left, it'll be the first hallway on your right, and then you'll see committee room number 125 right there. And that's where you'll access that committee room. That's where we're going to be gathering in the morning from that 9 o'clock to 10:45 time. We'll be in there. And then otherwise, as Charlotte said, and others have said, we'll be in the basement cafeteria after that time for the rest of the day. If you're coming from that ADA drop off in the back upper left side of the Capitol Annex building, whether somebody dropped you off from carpool or you're dropped off from the bus, then you'll go forward. You'll check in with the security guard. We'll have a pre-approved list beforehand. You'll show your state issued ID as we mentioned, and then you're going to go down the hallway towards the elevators or stairs. You can choose either one, and then you're going to go up one floor because you'll be in the basement if you're coming from that ADA accessible entrance. So you're going to go up one floor to floor number 1, the main floor, and then you'll follow these directions above to get to that room 125. All right, these are general directions coming from east or west to get to Frankfort and the Capitol. And those locations, like I said, your GPS directions, you can put in Kentucky State Capitol Annex building, Kentucky State Capitol, either one. It'll take you to the vicinity of where you're going. For those that are traveling in from different areas of the state, this is the way that we'll travel. And of course, we recommend to use your GPS to get there as well. But I see Daryl's got his hand raised. Go ahead, Daryl. And you're on mute.
Just want to remind Lexington folks, since I'm paying attention to how many are at this particular training and I'll be at the other training, before you make phone calls, know that in all of those who are here tonight, you have multiple people going to the same person. My suggestion is I'll let you know who your multiple others are, and then you should be able to choose somebody who's going to be kind of your lead and who can make the appointment. Because in some cases, there's 6 of you. And it's just easier if the 6 of you can identify a leader and have that person make the appointment. Carpooling,
Very
you can
good.
figure out on your own.
Excellent. Great point, Daryl. Thank you. Appreciate you sharing that. All right. So, related to a backup plan. Okay, let's say we happen to have inclement weather. We're not planning on that. It's going to be a beautiful day. We're not going to have any issues at all, okay? But listen, if it does happen, and that did happen last year, instead of trying to reschedule our meetings or move this event to a later date, what we're going to do instead is we're just going to move everything to virtual. So we'll have a virtual kickoff gathering that morning, kind of similar to this. on Zoom, and then you will go to your legislator meetings. You're just going to switch those in-person meetings, switch those to a Zoom meeting, and sending that to your legislator. And we'll be glad to help you with that, to help set those up if you have that need. If you need somebody to set up a Zoom meeting for you, we can do that. But this is just the backup plan. This is just in case we have inclement weather on February 19th or leading up to that. And of course, if anything changes, we will let you know as well. We will get the word out to our volunteers about that change as well. But right now, planning on in person, a beautiful day in the Capitol in Frankfort. So with that, that is wrapping up our presentation, but I do want to go to any questions you might have, anything that you might be thinking about. But before we do that, one or two other things I want to mention. One is, what do I wear? Apparel. And one of the things that we want to recommend is for you to dress business casual. You can dress up nice and just accessorize with an AARP item that you might have, whether it's an AARP lapel pin or a scarf or a tie or red or whatever the case. We're not expecting folks to wear a t-shirt or a polo. You certainly can, but I think what we'd rather have everybody do is just to wear business casual, dress up a little bit, and then just accessorize with an AARP related branded item or red clothing. So that's our recommendation for apparel. And go ahead, Scott. You got your hand up, I see.
Oh, I was going to wait, but a good suggestion in the chat. Robin Fisher suggests that maybe we could do a group text that day to help everybody stay connected. And an exceptionally good point from our good friend Mary Crowley Schmidt, no signs on sticks. Yeah, you can't bring those in either.
Right. Yes, good point. Thank you, Mary. The other thing I'll mention too, aside from apparel, is related to volunteers and mileage. So if you happen to be driving a personal vehicle, not a bus, but if you happen to be driving a personal vehicle, you're carpooling, whoever the driver is, we do have volunteer mileage reimbursement, and that is 72.5 cents, a little over 72 cents per mile round trip for your travel to this. So we do have that available to volunteers, registered volunteers that will be traveling with us to Frankfort. You would get that mileage covered from there and back, from one person, the driver per vehicle, outside of the buses. So wanted to clarify that point as well. And we can help you get that submitted post event, whether that's in the volunteer portal or by email to myself and Rachel Fouts, our senior operations business analyst. We'll be able to get that processed for you as well. So, Scott, I see you got your hand up. Go ahead.
Yeah, Dale, just one more comment from the chat from Ms. Jackson. She's suggesting that Lexington volunteers remember to wear your AARP blazer.
There you go.
Lexington got blazers.
Ohio County did not get any blazers.
I did not get a blazer.
I did not. All
Right,
right.
good points
You're
there.
blessed.
But
I have
go
a
ahead,
few
Jackie.
minor things. Name tags, are we going to get them when we get to 125, or are we going to have them beforehand? Because
We'll
it
have
seems like
them.
when we went in the door, they just looked at our name tags a lot of times.
Yes, we will have those printed and ready, and we will pass those out at our morning gathering in the committee room,
Okay.
in committee room 125. We'll have we're planning to have a conference style, a little bit larger 4x6 conference style name badge for you all that you'll be able to wear with a red lanyard as well. So we will look very official walking around the
Okay.
Capitol that day.
We usually address thank you cards while we're in the cafeteria. Do you want us
Yeah,
to do that?
we'll have some on hand.
Okay,
If you'd like to do that, that's encouraged. It's not required.
right.
But it's encouraged if you'd like to go ahead and write a handwritten thank you note while you're there, while you're in the cafeteria. You're welcome to go ahead and do that as well.
Okay, and Are we going to take a group photo of any kind while we're there? I
Scott?
asked that because
The
we'll
answer
be
to that is
scattered.
we'll
Right.
absolutely try to when we
Okay.
get the group in 125. It'll be a little challenging. But
Yeah, I was going to say it'd probably have to
we
be
don't have
early because we really scatter it in the afternoons. It's difficult
yeah.
to everybody get there, from where all we're at. So I'd like to encourage us to do it in the morning rather than wait till late afternoon before we leave.
Thank you, Jackie.
You're welcome.
Yeah, good points.
Daniel?
Go ahead. Is
Uh,
that Charlotte? Go ahead.
yes, I probably have 10 to 12 new people coming, and they don't have any kind of a shirt or anything. Is that something that we might find for them, or do you not have any in right now?
I think what we'll plan to do for those folks is one, they'll have their name badge. So if nothing else, they'll have identification that way with the AARP branded logo, Kentucky logo. The second thing is we'll have extra lapel pins, the AARP branded lapel pins that we can share with folks as well. So I would just plan on that. And two, like I said, I would rather not have the AARP t-shirts and the AARP polos. I know we have those and we wear those for community engagement events and things like that, but I'd rather folks just dress up more business casual and then just accessorize with an AARP related item or a red, just wearing red in some fashion as well. That would be my preference.
That sounds great. As you know, our judge executive is coming. The voice of the Z is coming. Scott's going to help Josh out. Hopefully, he's going to broadcast live from the Capitol. So, or Annex, I guess. So, anyway, we're really excited. We've got 3 candidates that are running for judge executive that are coming, as well as the state representative candidates coming. So, it's going to be exciting. They've never been there, so they're going to see us in action, and that's what we need to share with them how we do lobby for what our seniors need.
Is there any chance the governor or the lieutenant governor will be there that day?
We don't have a meeting set currently, nor have we contacted their offices as of yet. But if there's an opportunity for that, then we may try to make that available as well.
If you need any help, let me know.
Thank you, Charlotte. Yeah, all good points, all good questions. Does anybody else have any questions? And I will say too, we got to look out for each other while we're there. If you see somebody, they got AARP on, they're looking around, trying to find out which hallway they go to, where this meeting room is. Just try to help each other out so we can navigate that. And of course, you can ask other Legislative Research Commission staff members, security guards, sheriffs. They'll be able to direct you as well. Scott, go ahead.
You're muted, Scott.
Well, that was a good idea, man. I was just going to say, in the event that you are approached by a member of the media, look for a staff member. We just want to be very careful on what we say to the media in the Capitol Annex. So we'll have more policy around that in some of the handouts that you'll be receiving in the coming days.
I do think it's really important to have a spokesperson. If you have 20 people, pick out a leader that is very versed on the issues, because if you only get 20 minutes with that senator, you don't need to waste time, and just let that one person represent as many of you as possible. I think that would be the answer.
Right. That a good point, Charlotte. That, and also if you have a group, let's say of 5, and some of you are familiar or willing to speak to each issue, you could divide it up. You could say, here, I'm going to talk about fraud prevention. You're going to talk about caregiving. Jackie's going to talk about long-term care. You can kind of divide those up, talking points as well, if you like, whatever you're comfortable with. But we will be sharing those out, the legislative talking points, and the legislative priorities, more detailed on the bills that we're supporting and what we're looking out for. We'll be sharing more details on that prior to our Advocacy Day, February 19th. But I see Justin has his hand up. Justin, go ahead.
Justin, you must be muted. Hmm.
Yeah, I can't hear you.
Justin. You
Can't hear
are
you right now.
Sorry, my earbuds were not cooperating.
Oh, you're good. We can hear you now. Go ahead.
Okay. So this is my first time volunteering with AARP. Would it be possible, since you probably have our zip codes from when we registered, to maybe connect us with other people like in our county or something like that?
Yeah, absolutely. And you're out of Louisville, right, Justin?
Yes, I'm in Jefferson County.
Okay. What
It-
part,
it- it-
briefly,
and
what
I'm just
community or neighborhood are you in, Justin? In Louisville?
I'm in Germantown.
Germantown.
So
Okay.
I'm Lisa, sorry, Cassie Armstrong, and I can't remember my representative's name, but I mean,
Yeah.
I was just thinking it would be easier for me to like coordinate with other people, because
Mhm.
making phone calls and stuff like that.
Justin, we
absolutely.
can help you
Go
with
ahead,
that.
Scott.
Oh, forgive me. I said, Justin, we can help you with that. It's a pretty simple process. Um, uh,
We'll have to check the
we'll be in touch
zip
with you.
codes. Yeah, Justin. I don't know. I don't know that there's others from the Louisville volunteer community team that are in Germantown, but we'll connect with you and make sure we get you
Okay,
connected with another volunteer as well. But yeah, good
great.
question. And thanks for
Appreciate
joining
it.
us.
Thank you.
Glad to have you.
Yeah.
Anybody else have a question while we're all here?
Only a footnote. Hey, check that chat here on Zoom. You can download a lot of the materials that I dropped in here. And I did drop in a link to find your legislator. I did drop in the link to register. So there's some good resources in the chat.
Just so you know, Scott, that everybody on here may not know how to download something from chat.